what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it. Well, let's go ahead then. Let's start with a little LSU-Florida. And Jake, I want to ask you about this Florida football team and the year that they have had. The results are a bit interesting. Let me bring up the schedule real quick. So Florida opens the year, of course, getting absolutely trounced by Miami in the Swamp. And we're all like, oh, man, Napier, done. Then they beat Stanford. Then A&M goes into the Swamp, trounces Florida. And at this point, I thought Florida was teetering on the brink of completely collapsing. But they go to Starkville. They win 45-28. They host UCF, a team that at the time we thought was maybe still good, like we did preseason. UCF's not good, but there was some talk that, maybe UCF would beat Florida in the Swamp. No, they win that 24-13. Then they go to Knoxville, Tennessee. They give Tennessee everything that they want. And then probably the win that saved Billy Napier's job more than any, they host Kentucky, and they absolutely dominate Mark Poops and company 48-20. They go toe-to-toe with the Georgia Bulldogs in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. They actually had a lead at halftime. The game ended up being 34-20, but it was much, much, much closer than that. DJ Lagway ends up getting hurt. Who knows what happens if he doesn't. Really injuries, though, kind of defining this year's edition of the Florida Gators, as they're basically out there playing with a second string top to bottom nearly. And then so after that Georgia game, Scott Strickland comes out and says, hey, we're sticking with Billy Napier. And the most shocking part about that is the reaction to the news, of which I, too, fell right in line, and I agreed with it, was kind of like, that's probably the best option, which is wild that here you have a coach that will likely finish with a losing season again for the first time since the Great Depression. I think it'll be 4 years in a row for the Gators. And the reaction of bringing it back is like, but it's still got a very big buyout. It's a team that has not given up, even though they don't have a lot of talent right now because all their best players are hurt. They fight really hard. DJ Lagway is a very exciting young quarterback that seems to have a high ceiling that is tied in with Billy Napier.
Right.
And so it's like, why spend all that buyout money? You can put that money in NIL. Hopefully, so like they announced they bring Billy Napier back, and also like Scott Strickland kind of has to do this because I think their fates are tied together. So it's almost like he was giving himself a year stay of execution as well. But then the next week they come out and they go to Texas. They get dominated 49-17. Smart move by Strickland doing it ahead of the Texas game though, because that news would not have hit the same if he tried to drop it after what happened on Saturday. So I see a Florida team that was awful in the beginning, but has gotten better through the year, but that LSU is clearly better than, and there is no excuse. I don't care that it's in the Swamp. A&M went in the Swamp and beat the hell out of them. Miami went in the Swamp and beat the hell out of them. I don't care that it's there. LSU should go win this game on Saturday.
Yeah, you should, and for all the reasons you laid out there, it is a very banged-up Florida football team. Quarterback, running back, receiver, you name it, they've had major injuries, to their best quarterback, to their best running back, to their best receiver. I will say this. I will agree. They are fighting. So they're fighting for their head coach. It's kind of like Arkansas. Like when people ask me, should Sam Pittman go? I'm like, well, they've got some big wins. They've played in some games. And I turn on the tape, and they're fighting for their guy.
Yeah.
They're playing hard. They haven't given up on him. Same thing for Florida. They likely to get, some of these guys back. I think Lagway probably plays in this game against you.
Yes, it seems like they are leaning towards Lagway playing, seems to be what the news cycle is saying.
Yeah, he warmed up last week, just wasn't ready to go with the hamstring injury. Now, when he had it, you thought probably done for the year. He got carted off, and it wasn't as bad. And look, they want to get him back, obviously, because of how much you've struggled to stop dual threat quarterbacks in the last 2 games, the last 6 quarters, certainly. So I would expect him to be back, but still, like, you can't lose this one. It's a 4-5 football team that just got beat 49-17. They've gotten really kind of beaten like this against every good team they've played outside of maybe one. The
Georgia and Tennessee.
I just don't know how good Georgia right now. The Tennessee game, though, I mean, they
should have beat Tennessee. They should have gone for 2. They had, for those that don't know, at the end of the game, they scored a touchdown to tie with about 30 seconds left. They had the opportunity to go for 2 and win the game, and for some inexplicable reason, Coach Napier decided to play for OT. I don't know why on the road against a better team. I don't care how game flow's going. I don't know why you choose to take that game into overtime. It's a military theory. You keep the initiative, and you either live or die on that final play.
Yeah, it's, a couple of weeks ago when the Bengals go for 2, it's like they didn't get it, but I get it. I understand why they did it. And
it's funny you say you don't know if Georgia's good, but I mean, how funny is that about Tennessee? So we'll see Tennessee, Georgia this weekend, but Tennessee is a potential 2-point conversion away from losses to Arkansas and Florida. So how good is Tennessee as well? We'll find out more this week.
I know they have more weapons than Georgia because right now I think us 4 could line up and 11 personnel, and we might give Georgia
Well, Tennessee has Dylan Sampson,
a run for
and
it.
Georgia has
That's what I'm
nobody
saying.
close to Dylan Sampson for sure.
So, but again, you're going to get a team that's going to fight their butts off. I don't know what else they can do offensively without it being Lagway and his legs. Again, the receiver room is banged up. Man, you don't have any excuse for this one. You don't.
No.
Like, are you healthy? No, but you're much more healthier than they are. You have to go down to the swamp, make it 6 in a row. This is not a game that you can afford to lose. You can't. The narrative would be awful.
If LSU had suffered the same injuries that Florida had, LSU would probably be 4-5 right now. I mean, how many teams could survive losing their top 2 quarterbacks? They were literally doing a 2-quarterback system, and then both guys got hurt. How many teams could also survive losing their top running back, their top wide receiver, multiple defensive starters? It's bad out there. Then again, for LSU, we've seen just a god-awful 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And you have a crisis of confidence going on with this LSU team right now. And as we talked about, if you want to, a Brian Kelly program is built off of process and not letting the results, be the end-all, be-all and seep into the next result. In theory, that should be well-suited to handling adversity, like the last 90 minutes. But we're going to learn today. We're going to learn when you go into the swamp at 2:30 this weekend just how tough mentally this LSU team is. And so much of that stems out of Garrett Nussmeier. And look, I know that traditionally when you think of Florida, you probably think it's a pretty scary defense. It's just not the case this year. Second to last, 15th in the SEC in scoring defense. Second to last, 15th in the SEC in total defense. One of 2 defenses that gives up over 400 yards a game. So Garrett right now, like I said, I feel like and we'll talk to Matt Flynn about this during Flesh Stream more, but I feel like the worst thing that he's going through right now is he's a quarterback that plays with anticipation, that needs anticipation, and after throwing a few picks in which he was not anticipating the defender being there, I think he has to prove that he can get back to trusting himself, trusting his reads, and being willing to grip and rip those courageous throws again.
Yeah, he has to. And right now it's probably some doubt in his mind. And there's probably a feeling of, can I, when that was never a question he asked himself before. And you got to get back into that. And you still have the advantage as far as what you have available in your weapons. And you have to get all that out of your memory bank, all the bad plays that you've had as an offense. I'm not just talking about Garrett Nussmeier here. And look, I'll bet you $1 to a donut that Florida is going to play cover 0 and have AA mugs.
Yeah.
I'll bet you whatever you want to bet.
Is Dellinger's leaning towards coming back? Yes. I mean, it's probably questionable is what it's going to be on the injury report.
Tightrope, what?
2 weeks ago?
after A&M.
Is that 3 weeks now?
It's going on 3 weeks.
It'll be 3
was
weeks.
The bye, then Bama, then this week.
Yeah.
So this would be.
I don't know. If that's a big maybe. But either way, Florida's going to bring what Alabama brought, 10 different times and had success with it because you didn't show that you could pick it up. You never did. You know what I'm saying? So, and they have a very aggressive defense coordinator. Like, he'll do some Leroy Jenkins type stuff. And so he's going to do it.
And you got to prove to be able to beat it. Again, but like first pass at this Florida team, there's just nothing they really do well. Nearly any nearly any statistic that you look up, they are 10 or below on the year. Like it's not exaggeration. So I know LSU feels down right now, but even though it's on the road, this actually represents a kind of perfect get right game for the Tigers. So can you lock in? Can you prove to be mentally and physically tough? Can you get right? We'll see. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.